Hello. Okay.
Good morning, Anka.
How's it going?
I think everything is fine.
Let's figure just going to put online and show the message to Camila. You wrote to me more in the morning. More of the morning. It's like my food. It's crazy.
Un, deux, trois. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Abaissé? Oui. Il était beaucoup trop?
Intra-session, j'étais là.
Non,
Désolé,
non,
laissez-moi.
Voilà, juste là, pour l'ajuster.
Voilà.
Ok, bon, celui-là il reste ouvert tout le temps. Ceux-là sont ouverts, c'est juste au bouton. Par contre, j'ai remarqué hier, je ne pouvais pas venir parce qu'il y avait juste ici, qu'il y avait un écho. Et en fait, l'écho, c'était qu'il y en avait un qui était ouvert.
Ouais.
Et ça captait le
son.
son.
Celle-là, et après, c'était mieux. Je ne sais pas pourquoi.
Bah, en fait, celui-là reste tout le temps ouvert.
Ouais.
Quand on parle avec ceux-là, ça ne fait pas l'écho. Quand on parle dans ceux-là, si ceux-là sont ouverts, ils captent plus facilement le son. Par exemple, si je prends celui-là, que vous parlez là,
là-haut.
comme ça sort dans les haut-parleurs, ça revient dessus.
Ouais, je vois. D'accord.
C'est pour ça. Quand tu n'as pas le bruit ouvert, puis au pire, si c'est chaud, avec le micro comme ça, n'hésitez pas à aller cela sur tous les bruits.
Morning, hey, how are you? You come early? Yeah. I was up at 5.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Un, deux, trois, 1, 2, 3.
So I think I just want to make sure. It was pre-COVID, I suppose. That's right, yes, yes, yes. Wow, yes. It's over
Great, thank you so much for the great attention this morning. Your speech yesterday was like, sorry.
It's nice to meet you. So let me just finish already.
I make my second try to introduce myself. I'm connected to the global system.
Okay.
I am the moderator and the coordinator of this
Okay,
event.
so you're the piece with
Actually, I'm the other. Welcome. You told her yesterday.
yeah, I was saying actually
Because just because we are speaking for the moment, so because of like space to any how we mention something documentation there are some which are more active than others, like Quebec, for example, they are not, but these are really active. Otherwise, we would don't much happen. UN has no government. Yeah. How are you? We're together.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Very nice conversation. Really back for Ça va? Camélia. You are? Daniel, you are so I saw you, yeah. No, I don't, sorry, I won't recognize people. This is probably mental problem. But it's not. Not are you funny that offended? You know, I'm suddenly finding the concept of people like people, which is problematic with the Hey, Margaret, how are you guys? Yeah, exactly. You want to talk now? No, I was enough. So, no, enough. You know why? Because there it will be outside of the video. Yeah, okay. No, to be honest. Yeah. in 9 minutes, 9 minutes, 5
You're right, you're right. Whenever
Chili. Sorry. I don't know. Never like No, I will just say Paula is just saying no. Stuart is supposed to say no. Margaret, like Diana, I will announce it. That's the problem. Stefania, and then I'm the moderator. That's Is this comfortable seat? Don't stay like this, you Ça va? Salut l'équipe. Okay, may I ask don't be shy. Somewhere. All right. So, shall I use this for line? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Wow. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and pick up your seats. Morning or day to people who are following us online. So I'm very honored to welcome you here. That's a natural solution weather because it's normal that it rains in October, 1st October in Geneva. So thank you for coming in, even in the rain. Thank you for having us today joining this event, which is kindly co-hosted by IUCN, which stands for Union for Conservation of Nature, the Economic Commission of Europe called UNEC also, who is also the secretariat and the organizer of the Forum of Mayors, as well as my organization, the Global Cities Hub. And we are having I will be having the pleasure of moderating today. So we picked this very challenging title, the Triple Crisis, as it is said in the UN, and obviously we will not be able to give all the solution today for 1 hour, but we will try to present some very concrete projects with our panelists, and we will try also to give you some solutions, or at least to give you a follow-up for your projects and to explain how you can find solutions with our organizations. So this event is with this bold objective to cover many issues, from preservation of nature from IUCN point of view, to presentation on how UNEP, United Nations Environment Programme, and its partners are helping cities, regions, and countries address the triple planetary crisis, which stays from climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution, through climate mitigation and adaptation strategies. And it will tackle also, more concretely, urban forests with Stefania, which is one of the main activities also from EUCN, plastic pollution, which is one of the main activities of ICLEI, the biggest network, but also UNEP, and also the solutions of other planetary crises, as I said, at a glance for 1 hour time, but also we will publish a report, a summary, and you will be more acquainted to our organization and able to follow up after the event. With no further ado, I have the pleasure to give the floor for welcoming remark to Ms. Paula Deda, who is as I said, the chief of the Secretariat of the Forum of Mayors, but also in the rest of the year, Director of Forest, Lands and Housing Division at the UNEC. Paula.
Thank you, Camelia. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us so early in the morning. You're heroes to be here with us, and I'm also happy to see familiar faces and also the faces of mayors present this morning. Thank you, mayors, for being here. Before I read my short speech, just 2 comments. I was yesterday at the opening of the Forum of Mayors, and I'm both so glad to have IUCN. Thank you very much for bringing that message to the mayors. It was a brilliant speech, really opening the eyes of the fact that built environment doesn't mean absence, or doesn't have to mean absence of nature, but that really we have to look at cities with different eyes and really think of cities as the ones that have the main impact on nature, but the ones also that can integrate nature within their boundaries. So thank you. It was an important message, and I promise we will keep this message going to all the other Forum of Mayors. So be ready to come back. A special thank you to the Global Cities Hub for having always this attention to new topics, relevant topics for cities. You're always out there. You have the antennas out there, I have to say, and always capture the relevant topics and bring them also in the forum. So thank you so much. Thank you, UNEP, for being here. Gulnara, we lost Gulnara in UNEC, but we found a very important partner with her in UNEP. So also with her, we'll continue. Thank you also, Diana, for being here and all. Also allow me, maybe it's not usual, but I really want to thank the Liliana's team, the Forestry and Timber section, for their amazing work on urban forests, and also, you know, with this a great initiative started, the Trees and Cities Challenge, we got to 19 million trees over around 100 cities. This for a regional commission is no small effort, also because we managed to have a big global program. Thank you for all your work. It's really appreciated. Just a few institutional, so to speak, words. We are all working to ensure the needs and insights of cities are heard at the international levels, all of those here on this panel, in the UN, but also outside and other international fora, while also supporting action at the local level. The strong engagement in the Forum of Mayors is a testament to this need and highlights the potential for further cooperation. And I really think that those sitting here today will create the first group that will continue to cooperate on this topic. I invite you to continue to engage in UNEC. We will be honored to recognize your efforts to expand urban trees and nature cover by joining also, of course, the Trees and Cities Challenge that I just mentioned, but also to participate in another very important initiative, which is the Trees in Dry Cities Coalition, to help address water stress and scarcity in cities and countries. I see the presence of some mayors that might be interested in this initiative on Trees and Dry Cities Coalition. Both initiatives are easy to join, and you will hear more about them, of course, today. These are just examples of our wide-ranging activities. I'm happy to discuss, of course, them with you in more detail, and so is the Forest team. Our partners will also highlight other opportunities for you as mayors to engage and make your voice heard. And thank you for joining us again, and thank you to all our partners, and I wish you a successful event. I'll be with you for a while, then I will quietly disappear around 9:30. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And you will disappear quietly because we have the second day of the Forum of Mayors, which takes part in the other building. So we will also finish very sharply on time, if possible, even 5 minutes before. Why? Because I can encourage you, mayors and teams and researchers who are in the public, to jump
then on colleagues from UNEP and TUCN, ask them, and UNEC, ask them for their projects. So without further ado, I have the pleasure to give the floor to Stuart Maggins, Deputy Director of IUCN, and the presentation will focus on uncovering potential for nature-based solutions to make cities more resilient and healthier within a rapidly urbanizing world. And Stuart, unusual question, can cities be part directly of IUCN, be members? I know it's an intergovernmental organization, but if you can just explain this to us and please continue with the presentation.
Yeah, I will indeed. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's really nice to see, to be here with all of you and to see some new faces and see some old friends. Paul and myself were reflecting the last time we worked together was, I think we were in a yurt in Kazakhstan drinking fermented mare's milk. So that was way before COVID. So thank you very much. I'm going to very quickly take you through why we in IUCN believe there's a fundamental role for nature and biodiversity in cities and in urban areas, and how we might frame that. So just to very quickly introduce IUCN and to answer your question. So IUCN is a union of members. We were created in 1948. Uniquely, we have both state and non-state members. At the minute, we've got over 1,400 members. We've got states such as Switzerland. We have got indigenous peoples organizations. We have NGOs, and most recent, we've got government agencies like water authorities, protected area authorities, and most recently we have a new category for subnational jurisdictions, municipalities and cities, and there's about 20 of those at the minute. This is the most recent category of members. We've also got a network of 17,000 scientists, and if you don't know IUCN, you will certainly know some of the products we develop, like the Red List of Threatened Species, which is the definitive measure of the conservation status of biodiversity. With respect to why we're gathered here today, I think obviously I don't need to say it to you that urbanization is moving in one direction. It is rapid. We will we're at what 55% at the minute. By 2050, we'll be up at around 73%. I think it's estimated. But I think one of the important things, many areas have already surpassed that target already. Europe has reached that level of urbanization. I think also what's really interesting as well, particularly then when we start to think about integrated approaches and the challenges we face, is not all those areas are the same. So let me give you two examples. Japan and Saudi Arabia, both are highly urbanized, around 92% at the minute, but Japan has got an elderly population and Saudi Arabia has got a very young population. Median age is less than 30 at the minute. So even within that, I think one of the things we can't do is just to sort of take these figures as one general trend. There are lots of different trends playing out, and that means that there will be different demands in cities. Some places it will be really looking at how we create spaces for or create opportunities to reduce, let's say, heat stress on a growing elderly population. Another place it may be on how do we create new opportunities for job creation. So looking at this trend in urbanization, we've got to be able to differentiate how it's playing out in different parts of the world. of course, one of the things with urbanization is it is about people and it is about being people-centered. And this really sort of reinforces sort of this last point I was making, that there is a fundamental link between people's health and well-being. And I'll highlight both physical health and emotional or mental health as well, and how that plays out with several of the other trends that we're seeing globally, not least on climate change. And so just to highlight, so we've got this confluence of events. We've got increasing urbanization. There's no one single pattern, and which means that you've got different demographics in different urban situations. You've then got the issues of climate change coming in. You've got the issues of heat stress. As Norman Foster was saying yesterday, you've got also issues with perhaps with older populations of feeling isolation, loneliness. How do you bring all these issues together? And is there a role that biodiversity and nature can play? And I would actually argue that there is. It's not the whole solution, it is part of an integrated solution, and that will be something I will keep coming back to. So, just a couple of words on climate change. Climate change is here, it is real, it is negatively impacting cities. We have seen several extreme flooding events. We're told they're once in 100 years, once in 200 years, but the very fact is, the reality is, these, with climate change, these are unfortunately going to become much more frequent. We've also got, given the proximity of many, many urban areas to the coast, we've also got the concerns around sea level rise. And I flagged this up here because one of the interests, again, it's understanding how these issues are interrelated. When I say to you sea level rise, what's the cause? You will say, okay, the melting ice caps, melting glaciers, etc. However, really interestingly, there is some very recent research. Now, we can't pin too much, this has got to be verified, but there are some publications coming out saying that maybe 20 to 25% of sea level rise is also can be attributed to water runoff, that excessive water runoff, and this is going to be a point that I made yesterday and I'll come back today, we are not managing our water systems well enough. So if we, now I say, I won't be quoted on this here, but there are a few papers in the scientific journals that are saying, of course, glacier melting is a big driver of sea level rise, but we do need to be aware of other issues like freshwater runoff. And that is particularly relevant for cities like Bangkok that continue to sink and sink and sink because we're depleting, because of depletion of groundwater. And back here in Europe, we're saying that nowhere is unaffected by this. So that approximately at the minute we're estimating that around 10% of urban areas are at risk of the unpredictability and the increased unpredictability of extreme weather events, as we saw in the Czech Republic and Vienna and Romania 10 days ago with Storm Boris. 1 minute. Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so we need to. So basically, what I'm going to highlight now is we do need new solutions. We need to be absolutely bringing in. This is not about nature replacing. This is about bringing in and work nature and engineering and all being brought into a more coherent and holistic planning structure. And we've got that, I say, we've got that with respect to nature-based solutions. We have nature-based solutions. I want to highlight, if there's one thing to remember, nature-based solutions are not just about carbon. It's about a whole range of benefits. I will very quickly move. Sorry, I mistimed this. I was told I'd let more time. I beg your pardon. So I'll just move forward then to the key messages on this here. That with the future cities need to integrate nature and nature-based solutions into their planning processes and into their budgets, that we shouldn't delay the process of designing with nature, and that, as Norman Foster said yesterday, the future starts now. It's not in the distance. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. There are lots of examples, and I'll just, as I finish up, I'll just flag up some of these that you have got. Major wetland restoration. If you look at that picture, and you think it may be somewhere remote, it's not. It's sitting right in the heart of Kigali. We've got major wetlands, or major new restoration of mangroves, a green sponge to protect the city of Sanya. So we've got enough of these, and I think what we should be doing is really building on what we've got already. IUCN has got the global standard for nature-based solutions and an urban toolbox for how to incorporate biodiversity into that. And finally, we need new partnerships. That this is not one organisation, one municipality can't do it by itself. We really do need to find ways of building new partnerships. Thanks very much.
Sorry for stressing you, but this is really to allow a second round of debate. Thank you very much, Stuart. And yes, use and abuse the presentation of EUCN, the website, and talk to them after the end of the event, because I think you have a lot of projects to speak and to tell us about. Our next speaker is not Magash Naidu. I'm sorry for this. Magash felt sick. He's based in Bonn, Germany, so he couldn't come. And actually, I've looked for a special help, and the special help comes from Diana Rizzolio, who is running probably one of the largest platforms in Geneva, Geneva Environmental Platform. She's working not only with UNEP, EUCN, UNEC, but all the other organizations, including a dear partner with Global Cities Hub. Now, we decided in this organization, as I said at the beginning, to put the finger of some of the biggest problems of the planet of today. And this is one of them, is the plastic pollution. I spoke yesterday with some mayors coming, namely from Africa. And as you know, in Africa, governments and mayors speak about the 8 continents, the 8th continent being the plastic, which is in our rivers, seas, oceans, everywhere, in our blood, and our even placenta of the baby. So it's a very awful thing. Diana is working a lot on this plastic pollution. Why? Because 2 years ago, the United Nations Environmental Assembly decided to negotiate a global treaty on plastic. And in this global treaty of plastic, which is a classical intergovernmental organization, so far the voice of the local and regional governments is not taken into account. Some states are more open than others, but for the rest, it's really nothing. So we decided actually to talk a little bit about the plastic pollution treaty, the role the local and regional governments can play. And also we decided to introduce to you a coalition which was also settled by several partners. So ICLEI, which is the largest, it's not the right slide, by the way. The ICLEI is the largest network of cities, and when the slide is put, you will see the face of Magash. And also, we have in the room, by coincidence, one of the major partners of this coalition. So it is called Coalition to End Plastic Pollution of the local and subnational government. So we have Catalonia here, but you can take the floor after. We have Quebec, but Quebec region is actually the main partner, but also we have the mayor of Quebec, who I hope after this event will be also engaging in the coalition. And we invite all the mayors and local and regional governments who are interested to join the coalition. So with this, Diana, a lot of information. Tell us about the treaty, the stand of the negotiation, the other coalitions which are made by states, and then we will finish with the slide of this local and subnational government coalition where mayors present in the room and in the forum can join. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Camelia, and thank you to the organizers for having invited the Geneva Environment Network to step in last minute for a small focus. But actually, it's not going to be on the plastics treaty. It's going to be more on global governance to address the pollution crisis, because that's what I was asked to present here. So I will speak a lot about Geneva because this is my playground, but you will hear also various names of cities that are very important in our field and a few other references to the role of cities. Geneva is a global hub for the governance of hazardous substances, as it is the home of various organizations and multilateral processes that are actively working to reduce the environmental and health risks from chemicals and waste and tackling pollution. Our environmental deals have the names of the cities where they were adopted. For the chemicals and waste cluster, Basel, Rotterdam, Stockholm, Minamata might be familiar with you. They are the names of the conventions that are administered by the United Nations Environment Programme and headquartered here in Geneva. And every 2 years, they bring together member states at their Conference of the Parties and other intersessional work to advance the sound management of chemicals and waste and global action to tackle pollution. Similarly, we have because the UN Economic Commission for Europe is one of our hosts, the Aarhus Convention, its Kiev Protocol, and a series of other conventions, Helsinki, Espoo, and others, all named to the cities where they were agreed or adopted that also contribute to tackle pollution. It is also true that apart from their names, these multilateral agreements don't really refer to cities and local governments. The Basel Convention on Transboundary Waste Movements, however, refers, for example, to the need of capacity building for wastes produced locally. The Stockholm Convention refers to local exposure, locally safe exposure in local areas. The Kiev Protocol has a reference to access to information in Office of Local Authorities. But as you know, pollution accident always happens first locally, and there is something here that the Global Cities Hub and other actors working with local and regional governments are trying to address. The need of language about our local governments in some of these texts. So we have also in Geneva other multilateral processes, such as, for example, the World Health Assembly, the International Labour Conference, the Human Rights Council, and other human rights procedures that have also adopted important resolutions and decisions in this area, thus contributing to fight pollution. And some of these, for example, the resolution that the World Health Assembly adopted on pollution also refer to the local governments. I won't list all the actors and processes because I would need more time, but as I'm tasked to keep you updated with ongoing negotiations in this area, that's the first task you gave me. I will now focus on 3 important bodies or soon-to-be bodies. So first, I will refer to the Global Framework on Chemicals, which was adopted 1 year ago in Bonn, which recognizes the pollution crisis as the same level as the climate change and biodiversity loss crisis, which already have frameworks in place. Indeed, it complements the global deeds that set agreed goals and targets to tackle the triple planetary crisis that the humanity is currently facing. And you know those 2 agreements. For climate change, we have the Paris Agreement. For biodiversity, we have the Montreal coming biodiversity framework. And for pollution, we have this framework that doesn't have the name of a city, but that was agreed in Bonn in September of last year. So the secretariat of this framework is based here in Geneva. The deal is still young, but has an important role for the future of our planet. It also refers to the role of relevant sectors and stakeholders at the local levels. Then I would like to focus on 2 resolutions, and one of them has been mentioned by Camelia, that the United Nations Environment Assembly, which is the world's highest level decision-making body on the environment, has adopted back in 2022. So UNE, as we refer to when we refer to this assembly, convenes every 2 years in Nairobi, where the United Nations Environment Programme is headquartered, and regularly adopts resolutions on chemicals and pollution. And in 2002, that session adopted a series of historical resolutions, including, we can even see landmark historical resolutions. One that decided to convene an ad hoc open-ended working group to develop proposals for the establishment of a science policy panel to address pollution. So it's the equivalent of, I'm using acronyms, but acronyms that you all know, for IPCC for climate change or IBES for biodiversity. That group was expected to end its work this year, but it's now postponed to next year. I'm mentioning this because it's also important for cities. You might have heard that IPCC is, for the current cycle that has just started, is preparing a special report on cities. And the past IPCC assessments also included chapters dedicated to cities. So there is a space for cities and local governments in the science policy panels, and roles for actors such as the global cities hubs and others to push cities into there. And then finally, the other UNE resolution is the one that Camelia has mentioned, the one setting up the path to a global treaty to end plastic pollution. So the Intergovernmental Negotiating Committee to develop this legally binding instrument had already will meet for its 5th session at the end of November. So it means that it already met for 4 sessions in Punta del Este, Paris, Nairobi, Montreal. And International Geneva is strongly involved in this agenda. We have launched the Geneva Beat Plastic Pollution Dialogues even before the resolution was adopted, that are popular and are keeping the international community updated with this process. And cities and local governments have proved that they are essential actors in dealing with this plastic crisis. We have seen also through that series. And for an ambitious or a successful outcome of these negotiations, Camelia referred to the coalition that she will can present furthermore, but we have various coalitions that have indeed been put in place. A high ambition coalition for states. We have business coalitions, science community has also its coalition, civil society has a coalition, youth are also organizing coalition. And this really helps strengthening the proposals as there is an ambition deadline to set up the deal at the end of this year. So I wanted to stop here because you already presented the local and subnational government coalition that was prepared, and indeed Catalonia is here and was also instrumental in having this coalition set up. So you saw I mentioned a lot of cities.
Thank you. It's rich. It could be confusing for you. Thank you, Diana. Sorry, just to tell you that in Geneva we don't clap after each speaker, so for me it's unusual, so I might skip, some applause. This is very complex. You hear resolutions, treaties, and this is a show how the United Nations is actually made by member states, by national governments, and all the organizations sitting with me are working until very recently or today with member states, with central governments. So what we are trying here is really to switch a little bit and to include local and regional governments, which for the moment are not, as you've heard, very, very little included in their work. So bear with us. More information on this website of ICLEI and the website of the Global Cities Hub, or you can just Google Local and Subnational Governments Coalition to End Plastic Pollution. There is a document which you can agree to, write back to us, sign and support, so you can encourage member states, central governments to pay attention to what the local and subnational governments say. Now, switching the topic to something else, as I said at the beginning, it will be a little bit switching to different issues. This is the localizing the Rio process. Now, the Rio process, as many other processes of the United Nations, is a process we started in a city And people working with Rio process or Nairobi process or Busan process are convinced that everyone knows what is it, which is usually not the case. So please explain to us what is the Rio process. And this is about urban forest as an integrated solution. I have the pleasure to invite Stefania Romano, coordinator, Transformative Urban Nature Action, UNEC, FAO, which stands for the Food Agricultural Organization based in Rome, and Timber Section, UNEC. So a lot of, unknown language to external people. So please go ahead. And you will also speak about 300 target achievable and needed in your city. So you have to assess all this information. Stefania,
thank you very much, Camelia. First of all, I would like to express an acknowledgement to all the work done for the Forum of Mayors, a lot of work behind the scenes. An acknowledgement to the speakers and colleagues today here, sitting IUCN, UNEP, ICLEI. I've had the pleasure to be working either for or with the organizations that you represent. And that shows the dedication we all have about nature. But more than that, I would say it shows the passion, the drive that we are striving towards changing the mindset from being takers into being givers when related to nature and related to each other. So if we think about, if we imagine how we imagine cities in 2050, for example, certainly either cities will collapse or cities will thrive. And it very much depends on how we are going to be integrating nature into the urban environment. So who holds the key here? It's mayors. And then I will first like to be turning, if there is any mayors in the room, first, mayors or deputy mayors in the room, can you raise your hand? Great. So I have a question for you. Do you know how many plants trees have been planted in your city?
Actually, I don't know the real number, but recently I just initiated a plantation project in my city. So I've been planting for numbers maybe around 3,000 just 1 month ago. Great. So I started, so 3,000 plant, which I planted just a month ago. So it's going on till maybe my target is to just within 3 months, I had to cover 12,000 plants so far. Then this next season, then we will start it in a broader way.
And you're from?
From Pakistan, Turbat.
Pakistan, okay, yeah. Great. So you have a plan, you have a target.
Yes, I do have a.
And do you know how much it costs to plant a tree?
Yeah, it's very costly.
You see, I mean, we have very professional mayors here. Any other mayor who wants to take the floor?
They are all very professional,
you see?
Stefania. So, sorry, yeah. Hi. Bruno Marchand from Quebec. Oh.
Thank you. We're on a plan, even though Quebec City is a well-forested city, to plant more than 100,000 trees for 2029, and it's very costly.
It's very costly.
Way much more than $100 per trees.
Okay, and so, but do you have a plan to be planting more trees?
Yeah, we're planting more than 100,000.
Fantastic.
For 2029.
Thank you so much. So we are moving towards the right direction, apparently. So here we have
Stefania, we have two more.
Yes, we have more?
Yes, Pichincha from Ecuador.
Great.
En 5 años de gestión con nuestro programa de reforestación hemos intervenido en 1.600 hectáreas. Tenemos varios programas de apoyo en la zona de biosfera del Chocó andino. El 38% de la provincia de Pichincha está en zona de biosfera, por lo tanto tenemos un trabajo muy intenso de restauración y de reforestación. Estas 1.600 hectáreas lo hemos hecho en 300 actividades con universidades, colegios y sociedad civil.
Fantastic. So you're also pulling together partners and universities into the objective of planting trees.
Well, she explained that she had a plan to, I don't know how many trees do you mention? ¿Lo puedes repetir, por favor?
1,000.
Un resumen. 1,600 hectares. It is planned which year? ¿Qué año?
In 5 years. In 5 years. Whatever. It's.
And this was Maria from Catalonia and the Plastic Pollution Coalition. I will get back to you. And the last, not least, obviously, is Buenos Aires have more inhabitants than Switzerland.
Hi, hello. Yes, we are implementing natural-based solutions like biocorridors and also green streets. And we are going to plant like 100,000 more trees. The city has right now 400,000 trees along. So
this is fantastic.
Yes, it's fantastic, but you know that it's a big challenge.
It's a big challenge.
Yeah. And of course, it's very expensive also.
Yeah.
So that's why
cost-benefits analysis always shows that at the end of the day, it's more expensive because the return is more than what we give, right? So thank you so much. I think there is a lot of not only engagement in this audience, but a lot of movement towards planting more trees and being closer to nature. 5 minutes. So we have an achievement here that I would like to show to you. You see 19 million trees planted. That's a milestone for us, but it's not a finish line. Trees in Cities Challenge. That's our initiative. It's been launched in New York in 2019, and ever since through the cities we have had 19 million trees planted, and more will come. Also, thanks to you, mayors, joining the challenge with us. So UNECE very much strives for providing through its initiatives support, tools, guidances through and with different ways like capacity building, policy development, collaboration, peer exchange, best practices. Not only we have Trees in Cities Challenge, but we also have other initiatives that I'm very happy to be sharing with you. Trees in Dry Cities Coalition, we know that trees is not a luxury any longer, it's a lifeline, and this is how we drew a very interesting event last year in Dubai at COP28 when we launched the coalition, and that's for water scarce regions, initiating urban greening solutions on the ground. Since Dubai, we've had 3 operational meetings with local governments, national governments, financing institutes, and really very much driving the solutions on the ground. But also small actions matter, and that's the reason why we came up with the Petite Forest Network. You might call them micro forests, small forest, pocket forest. It means that even small spaces can really greatly impact sustainability. And here you can see how do I move it? I'm pushing.
Is it moving?
Yeah. No.
Mm-hmm. No.
It's going. Yeah, I was trying to go slow, but then back. Back. Here it is. I just wanted back, forward. Yeah, that's thank you. That's the picture. Last week we were for the launch of the Petite Forest at the Future Cities in Utrecht, together with the IPH, with Water Parks, and we launched the Petite Forest. But then the other picture is about Dubai, the Trees in Cities Coalition, together with WGO. So pulling people together, partners and colleagues. The next slide. So also Stuart was speaking about the benefits of nature in general, but also trees. specifically. We know that trees absorb carbon dioxide, mitigating climate change. We know that trees provide shades, reducing the problems with the air. I mean, improving the air quality. We know that the trees can provide a natural habitat for animal and plant species, and that's responding to the international frameworks. That's responding to the Rio conventions, biodiversity, climate change, and desertification. So UNECE urban forestry initiatives provide that very framework to be contributing to responding to global challenges, localizing global actions. The last slide here is the 30-300 rule for greener, healthy, and more resilient cities. 3 means that everyone should be able to see at least 3 mature trees from their home and place of work or study. 30, there should be a 30% tree canopy cover in each neighborhood. 300, the maximum distance to the nearest high-quality public green space should be 300 meters. And then the last slide here is like asking to you, is 300 target achievable and needed in your city? So again, any mayor or any interested stakeholder would like to be answering this question. Is this rule achievable in your city? 300 target. What do you think about it? How would you like to be implementing it in your city? And again, if there is any mayor, deputy mayor would like to take the floor, please.
Sorry, Camelia. I would like to comment on that because I have a plan for this. If at least 3 mature trees, that what you mentioned, if as a mayor I didn't have sufficient fund for plant all around my city, but I can give involve my community or citizens to grow plant or trees in their home or in their respective areas. To encourage them, I should give them some incentives.
Okay.
So they can reduce their
Yes.
taxes if they for some trees, or to give some other incentives, so they can be encouraged by grow more trees, so
Yeah.
they can then that number can be achievable if we can include our community
Involvement, community engagement.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
Camelia, I don't know if we have more time for other, but I think, please.
1 minute and then come back.
If there is any other mayor who would like to answer this question, happy to get your inputs, your comments, your
Or
suggestions.
after all the speakers, so we have
Maybe
also
we can do
time
it.
to-
Yes, we can do it
Exactly.
after, so that we give space to the other. But so going to the last slide, you have seen an overview of our urban forestry initiatives: Tree City Challenge, Tree Cities Coalition, UN Petite Forest Network. Happy for you to join. Contact us so that we can work together collaboratively. For as you were saying before, nature is only one language, our language. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Stefania. That was amazing. Thank you so much. So IUCN is an intergovernmental international organization outside the United Nations. It's difficult, so I'm guiding you. UNEC is a regional commission, and in your regions you have also regional commissions also active on forests. They're called UNESCAP in Asia, UNECLAC in Latin American region, UNECA in African region, and UNESCFA for Arab-speaking countries. And all of them, but mainly UNEC, are very active in trees. We were also part of your campaign. So the easiest thing to orient yourself in all these coalitions, etc., is just talk to the people you have the chance to meet today, because they're running programs, they're very knowledgeable. As I said, ask questions, and after the meeting, jump on them. And with this, I will not say like it's not a main organization, but it's definitely the bigger one. So it's part of the UN. And to tell you a small anecdote, when I started my career of diplomat like 20 years ago, I think that UNEP was kind of a smaller agency, which increased tremendously and has a lot of, I call them offsprings, it's not an official one, but they have secretariats for the climate change, conventions, the so-called COP, the next one being in Azerbaijan, the biodiversity, the plastics, etc. All this is somehow run by the UN, even though sometimes we don't realize, like for the COP, when you go to the climate convention, some of the mayors are going, you don't realize probably that UN is firmly behind. And behind is Gulnara, who is the who is the head of the city unit of the UNEP. So this is rare and a part of the UN, as I said, the UNEP, United Nations Environmental Program, who has a dedicated city unit. And we have the chance, the pleasure to have Gulnara Rol with us. So Gulnara, you will have the challenge in a couple of minutes to explain the huge work you are doing, presenting highlights how UNEP and its partners are helping cities, regions, and countries to address the triple planetary crisis, climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution, and other topics. And you can see Gulnara in all the COPs, in UNEA, in Nairobi. She's everywhere. So Gulnara, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. And first of all, thank you so much to IUCN, UNEC, Global Cities Hub for organizing session. I think it was very useful. We had a really good exchange. Well, I guess in 2 minutes, I could just maybe make a small wrap up of what was discussed today. But indeed, I'm very glad to welcome you in the new capacity. I'm head of the cities unit, but I'm also secretary to Alliance on Buildings and Construction, looking into building decarbonization. And maybe the best way to wrap up, speaking about triple planetary crisis, to get back to the climate change. I mean, this is what Stuart started to speak at the very beginning, that we all are seeing outcomes of the ongoing climate change. Today, this summer was with the floods, with extreme heats in many regions. That was really an example again, so nobody really needs to prove today. In many ways, thanks to our cooperation, we are today on the way towards 2.5, 2.9 degrees increase in the temperature, where like actually every little grade makes huge difference. Like even 1.0001 make a big difference of having more floods or increase of the coastal zone in a city, destroying completely the city. So it's a huge difference. If we wouldn't have worked together, we would have been today on the way to 5-degree increase of the temperature globally. Today is 2.5, 2.9, but IPCC did not abandon the inspirational goal of 1.5 degree. And this is what the governments are working together on different national plans. And probably also to refer to the discussion today on the trees in cities, also maybe it's important to mention that both climate adaptation, which is nature-based solutions, but also climate mitigation, kind of two parts of the medal. I mean, it's two parts of the three sides of the medal, because less mitigation we do, more money we have to put into adaptation, and we don't enough of mitigation adaptation, much more of the loss and damage. And the fund which is being established, it also has to have money from somewhere. So I think these three parts, mitigation, adaptation, and loss and damage, they're so much interconnected. And I think they also very much connect these three topics of this, triple planetary crisis, because biodiversity is actually also very connected to the climate change. So what we are working today at UNEP, and I'm in the climate change division, we're supporting countries in developing their national determined contribution. So basically, it's a national climate plans looking in mitigation, so where governments are establishing their own objectives, and they're reporting every 5 years. I mean, the first report was in 2020, now 10th of February 2025, so for the COP30, there will be next reporting, and then we're discussing right now the next reporting in COP 2030. And UNEP is organizing regional consultations to discuss how this work on the NDC's national climate plans is going on. We see lots of challenges because any plan, if it's working plan, it has to be well financed. So we speak about the investable NDCs. So for that, they need to be extremely detailed sectorally. So like the building sector in which we're working, all the planning in terms of financing has to be very detailed, or transport sector has to be very detailed, and then there should be also cross-sectoral cooperation. In addition, there should be engagement of the local subnational governments, and this is where there is a series of different alliances as well. I think what you mentioned already, what Diana was speaking about in terms of environmental pollution alliances, but also for the climate change, there is a coalition of high impact champions countries, CHAMP. There is a surge, there is a different cities network doing their own programs. So there is some efforts of engaging the local and regional governments into the national determined contribution plans. So from this point of view, I asked some of the mayors yesterday if somebody is engaged in NDC already. I don't know any of the mayors here. Like, are you part of the CHAMP? Anybody?
I will.
Yeah.
I will ask also
Yes, but yesterday I also asked quite many, so not. So we really see that we're quite far away, far from getting the objective. So I think this is for us going forward to COP 29 and COP 30, kind of the main task of NDCs, but also, under mitigation, we're working on the national determined contribution, which is mitigation. There is also national adaptation plans. Under CDB, there is national biodiversity plans. So they also need to coordinate it between themselves to address actually the triple planetary crisis. So it's just to say it's really a lot of work for us to do. So these kind of meetings are extremely important, not only to bring governments between themselves to understand, what are the NDC's national adaptation plans, but also how we engage different stakeholders, the private sector, expert, and of course the mayors who are speaking yesterday and today. So back to you, Camille.
Thank you very much, Gulnara. And to structure the end of the event, I was thinking, listening to all these organizations. So first I will ask in English, and then Diana, if she feels okay, or Maria will help me with the Spanish, because unfortunately, this is a problem in my life. I speak Italian, I don't speak Spanish. So I will ask you, mayors, so first English, then Pichincha and San Jose in Spanish. If without preparation, you're politicians, so you speak in public very often, what will be the 3 dreams, problems on a triple planetary crisis to solve in your city? Speaking about, we spoke about trees. We spoke about probably cooling, heating, climate change, which is probably the one of the biggest problem now. And as we know, unfortunately, many people will suffer or die from heat. So we have also drought, water sanitation problem, plastic pollution, as I said. It's not that it is dear on my heart, but we really very hard work on this. And I'm not sure that the progress in the negotiation of the plastic pollution treaty is really there. So if I wake you up in the middle of the night and you have a kind of a magical thing, what are the 3 environmental / climate change / waste management problem you will sort out in your city. And to give you time to think, I start with Quebec, who is over there. So I go up and you think in the meantime.
First of all, I think it's not a matter of one topic. It's a matter of mobilization. Even though the sense of urgency is well known for people that are aware about climate change, it's still hard. I will talk only for North America, but it's still hard to get people into it. So there's always more urgency on other topics that come in front, and that we are asked as politicians to be more aware of. So it's really a challenge, because I think we're doing a lot, but we're facing a lot of wind in front of us because people are not that mobilized about climate change. They know it exists. Some denied it, but they're not pretty sure that we should put it in front of our actions. So each time we do something, it's kind of hard to get people into it, or at least enough people into it to make the tipping point. The second thing I would say is more about having the resources to do it. We're challenged by other governments and other organizations that are not at the same level as we are, that are not as engaged as we are about environment issues. So it's hard to do it by yourself, because as a city we have limitations. And I would say the last thing, it's about transportation. In Quebec City, 63% of our GES are coming from transportation. So people who commute and commute by car. So we're trying to bring a new revolution in the way to commute ourselves in the city. But it's hard because it's about identity. So people think that we want to take out their heart and throw it away because the car is something apart inside of their own body, about their identity, about their soul. So we're making that revolution, but it's a long way to go. And as a politician, because we're thinking about more future generation instead of our re-election, next re-election might be tough. So, but we do not care, because we do prefer losing instead of winning, but not doing the right thing at the right time.
Wow, no, this actually deserves applause. Thank you for your honesty. Yeah, you said it all, you summarized it all. Yes, I have New Orleans. I shall come for the jazz festival, honestly. I don't know what I'm doing here at 8 o'clock in the morning. So go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Arthur Walton. I am not the mayor. I'm charged with, as a deputy mayor, charged with director of intergovernmental relations. I think it's noteworthy to mention when we're talking about climate change that my presence here is a direct result of climate change, because over the last 5 weeks, we've had 3 named storms in the Gulf of Mexico, which has kept the mayor in New Orleans. I guess my 3 wishes, to echo the gentleman's point, is number 1, acknowledgement. New Orleans is living at the intersection of climate change, the Mississippi River, and the Gulf of Mexico, which makes for a bad trilogy. At this point, the rising seas have, on a recurring basis for the last 3 years, intruded into the Mississippi. So we're faced with that. So the high seas, the global warming, it doesn't make for a pretty picture. Our hurricane season now is 6 months out of the year, from June to November. To describe it as a state of emergency would be an understatement. Whenever there's any activity in the Gulf, we're in the Panhandle. So, the mayors around that coastline, it's like rolling the dice or spinning the roulette wheel. Which way will it go? So those are my 3 wishes. But first is acknowledgement. It's real. It's happening to New Orleans in real time.
Good luck with your central government.
Thank you.
I mean it. Sorry. Yes, 3 things.
Thank you. I'll just make it short. For me, the first thing would be, awareness to the public, educate them that really, global warming and the climate change or these things are real and it is affecting the city. So first to educate and educate them. Then because Turbat is a dry city, and we often get in summer, our summers are getting longer, and we often get above 50 centigrades. It's very harsh summer there. So to mitigate these, so we will we have to grow more trees, do plantation, so we get it much cooler. And the third one will be renewable energy. So we can also to get the effect of the climate change, we can minimize it. Thank you.
So much. Thank you so much. So if you give some water, to Turbatkesh. Okay. Now, city which is in my heart. I'm from Sofia.
I will start with pointing three things. The first one, and the problem we're facing in general, city of Sofia is quite green city with a lot of green areas, but especially the newly developed areas in the city in the last 15 years, it's because of rapid growth are not well planned. I would say there is not enough green spaces, and the principle you showed 330, 300 is nowhere there. When you're in some of the new areas of Sofia, you see concrete jungle all around you, which does not correspond to the today's world. There is no green safe house areas where you can walk and it could be cool. So I think in general, the cities, including Sofia, need to plan much better with today's reality, with the climate change in mind, and to think of cities that are suitable for kids, for elderly, for people walking or using bikes, not just cars. Number two, our point is the waste collection and recycling. We need to have a long way there. We are currently recycling only 20% of the waste, and we need to reach levels of around 70 or 80. So if we can do it with a magic wand, it is something that we want to get there. And maybe number three is we already started something. We call it Green Highway. This is 2 ring roads around the city, only for bikes and pedestrians. So I hope to have it finished in the next 3 years, and it could be something like additional boost to the using of cycling and pedestrian walk. So I'll put it like this: city planning, more recycling, and having it more comfortable for pedestrians and cyclists.
Thank you so much. And put more mineral water baths, because you have a lot of mineral water in Sofia.
Good morning, Vahtan Golmajaria from Tbilisi City Hall. I would like to share 2 directions, 2 aspects of climate change issues and green areas. One is that in post-Soviet cities, vast majority of roofs of living buildings are made of tar, which creates huge problem during summer, which rise because of adding temperature approximately 7 degrees in August, in July, creates huge additional costs for conditioning and lowering air temperature. And probably green roofs are some kind of solutions on places where private property is very, very high in prices and not in use with quite big numbers in the area. And the second one is that in Tbilisi we created approximately additionally 20 hectares of new forests, and also hundreds of not only pocket but also big size parks, where some of them were created on the places where people had vehicle garages before. And these huge areas created not only recreational and green areas, but also SME sector raised around of these areas, and also price of property increased because of better living conditions. And we now are trying to make research about what was economic and social effect, not only recreational and ecological effect, but also economic effect, because this would help in future to prove better that green areas more important, and not only because of it's nice to walk around, but because of it creates economy more, and it creates more economy because of prices of property and employment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for this very rich information. I'm switching to Spanish. It will not be me Who will help me with you will help me with translation. Okay, so 3, yeah. You say it in Spanish, Diana translated in English. Diego, you say it in Spanish, Diana translated in English, and we conclude 5 minutes.
Gracias por la traducción. Voy a hacerlo en partes para que puedas hacerlo mejor. Primero, frente a la dificultad de ecosistemas vulnerables, hemos tomado algunas decisiones. Primero, la declaratoria de áreas de conservación. Esto lo hemos hecho mediante ordenanza en nuestro gobierno provincial, en nuestro gobierno regional, y eso permite gestionar recursos en esas áreas de conservación. Obviamente hemos, lo que señalé hace un momento, restauración, 1.600 hectáreas de restauración en 5 años. Y hoy tenemos un doble trabajo porque en el último incendio del de la semana pasada perdimos aproximadamente 4.000 hectáreas. Es decir, lo que hicimos en 5 años en un incendio nos toca ahora duplicar la tarea. Y contener la frontera agrícola. En las zonas rurales es fundamental. Si no logramos contener la frontera agrícola, la gente sigue sembrando, sigue cultivando, sigue manteniendo animales en las áreas de cuidado, básicamente de conservación. Me quedo con la primera parte de la pregunta. No sé si me ayudas con la traducción.
It's going to be hard. Do you want to do it?
Faltan 2. ¿Quién traduce? ¿Quieres traducir tú? Acá, okay.
There was a lot of information provided.
Yeah. Okay. I'm a Spanish speaker, so I'll help translate. It was a lot of information, so I'll try to digest a little bit. I think one of the things you mentioned is that they've done a big effort on reclaiming and declaring protection spaces within the district, because that protected status will give them access to resources that they wouldn't have otherwise. They've also taken a big effort on reforestation. They've taken over 1,500 hectares in 5 years. But they had a really bad fire last week that consumed over 4,000 hectares. So now they need to double the effort to be able to not only meet what they've proposed to meet, but also to cover what they lost with the fires.
And maintain the agricultural border.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's right. And then so they're also creating an agricultural border, because if they don't do that, then people in the agricultural sector will continue to plant outside in protected areas, but also farm animals and so on.
La segunda dificultad, falta de agua. Generamos un consorcio de agua que une a varias provincias. Los páramos no conocen de división político-administrativa, por lo tanto, nos hemos juntado varios gobiernos intermedios generando este consorcio para el cuidado y la siembra del agua.
The second challenge is access to water. They have created an alliance with multiple municipalities in the area because their natural ecosystem doesn't know physical borders. So they've created a consortium together with the other governments to protect and also generate more water.
Y finalizo con la tercera, que es un tema muy importante para nosotros. En la provincia, mediante consulta popular, le dijimos no a la minería metálica y por consulta popular se decidió suspender en esa área actividades mineras. La pregunta es cómo sustituimos esa actividad económica que significa un ingreso para las personas. Hace un momento en la conferencia, en la primera, se señalaba que debemos cuidar también de las personas que están en esos ecosistemas sensibles. Estamos sustituyendo por turismo sostenible, capacitación, formación, asociaciones cooperativas para turismo sostenible. Y la segunda, estamos trabajando con valor agregado a la materia prima, al cacao, a la caña de azúcar y al café, que son básicamente en la zona del noroccidente. Está aquí el alcalde de San Miguel de los Bancos, que es alcalde de este territorio, que es un territorio ambientalmente muy sensible. El 38% de nuestra provincia está en área de conservación, en la zona del Chocó andino.
And the third challenge, which was a really big challenge, was turning down mining. Because in the region they have mining resources, but they have gone to public consultation and they have agreed through public consultation to say no to mining. which is a big problem because it also mining represents a lot of jobs and resources for other areas, for other populations, and an important source of income for the country. For the region. So they have been working a lot on replacing or finding ways to get those resources to people that otherwise would have gotten them through mining. And they've taken a couple of approaches. One of them is through sustainable tourism, upskilling people and transferring skills dedicated to tourism, also creating conglomerates and association groups that can support sustainable tourism. The second thing they've done is they've created added value to raw materials in agriculture. They produce cacao, they produce coffee in the region, and sugarcane. And then so they've worked within the local municipalities, whose mayor is here as well from San Miguel. And they have worked on creating this specific added value to these agricultural products, specifically because that area is very sensitive from the sustainability perspective. I don't know if I'm...
Thank you. You can pass by for your honoraria after. Okay, we do it quickly because now, sorry to be so, discriminating, but the youngest mayors, in the forum, my friend from San Jose, Diego, and my friend from Ifangi, Frank, are here. So Spanish translation, 1 minute, 2 minutes, please.
Gracias. Buenos días. Dos problemas en uno que tenemos en San José, principalmente como región central del país. El tema del agua. Nosotros tenemos agua, suficiente agua. Lastimosamente no tenemos en este momento un proyecto, tenemos una planificación desde hace 20 años de cómo llevar agua a San José. Y eso nos genera un segundo problema, que es que no podemos resolver, por ejemplo, los desplazamientos de la gente, que es un tema de cambio climático, y tampoco podemos resolver repoblar San José, que es un proyecto que se tiene desde hace mucho tiempo, pero sin agua no se puede incentivar más, por ejemplo, a que la gente vuelva a San José, porque San José ha sido una capital que ha venido despoblándose en las últimas décadas. Y lo que queremos más bien es hacer un proyecto. Lastimosamente esto es una competencia nacional, no es una competencia local, pero la idea es traer un proyecto. El gobierno nacional lastimosamente le ha quitado muchos recursos a un proyecto que se llama Orosi 2, que pretende traer agua desde otra provincia del país hasta San José. Entonces tenemos ese gran problema porque sin agua no podemos repoblar San José y repoblando San José podríamos resolver muchos problemas de desplazamiento que se tienen en la capital. Nosotros, digamos, para desplazarnos, para que se hagan una idea, para desplazarnos 10 kilómetros duramos a veces 2 horas, 3 horas para desplazarnos muy poco. Y un último tema para terminar es el tema que es un tema bandera que he venido trabajando, es el tema del tratamiento integral de los residuos sólidos. Nosotros tenemos San José como territorio, que es un territorio muy, muy pequeño, produce la tercera parte de todos los residuos sólidos del país y nosotros, bueno, hace unos días firmamos con Cooperación Francesa una ayuda que van a hacer los franceses para estudiar alternativas a los rellenos sanitarios, que es la única, hasta este momento es la única forma de tratamiento de residuos que tenemos. Lastimosamente, a pesar de que tenemos una ley de avanzada desde hace 15 años, esa ley no se ha logrado implementar y bueno, estamos en esa tarea. Gracias.
Gracias.
Might need to be fact-checked, but yeah, I think the first challenge he has is with water. There is quite a lot of water in the country, but San Jose is in the central part of the island, so it doesn't get as much water naturally. So water needs to be transported from elsewhere to San Jose. And even though they have a plan and infrastructure from 20 years ago, they still haven't been able to implement it. So there's a lot of challenges of bringing water into the city. I think the second challenge is with movement. I think within the city, I think they may take a very long time to cover very small space. San Jose is also a city that has lost a lot of population over time. The population has been reducing, so they've been trying to find strategies to repopulate the city. If I understood right, I think there are some displaced people in Costa Rica from climate change, and they have not been able to relocate them into San Jose because they haven't been able to bring sufficient water to provide the infrastructure to relocate these folks. And the third challenge was wastewater, because they, even though they're one of the smaller spaces, they still produce over 70% of wastewater in the country, and they have some infrastructure, and they're working in projects to implement some of the infrastructure. They have the legislation in place from 10 years ago, but they haven't been able to implement it. I don't know if I missed anything.
Thank you. And in Geneva, I know that they have a lot of expertise of water, so I can connect with Geneva, you know, private-public partnerships. Last, really, bear with me 2 more minutes. It's the mayor of Ifangi. I have translated, my French is better than my Spanish. I have translated the question, so he will speak in French, rapidement, and then Spanish. And then I will translate.
Merci beaucoup. Je remercie sincèrement les organisateurs de cette activité. Moi, je viens du Bénin, une petite commune située au sud-est du Bénin et qui fait frontière avec la République fédérale du Nigeria. Le grand défi actuellement chez nous, c'est de renforcer les forêts. Et tous les villages chez nous disposent des forêts sacrées. Mais à cause de la pauvreté, il y a une pression de la population sur ces forêts, en détruisant ces forêts. Donc aujourd'hui, le défi à relever, c'est de renforcer ces forêts sacrées dans tous les villages et dans les espaces urbains de chez nous. Donc il faut qu'on puisse restaurer ces forêts. Dans certaines communes aussi, il y a de grandes forêts qui sont en train de disparaître. Donc aujourd'hui, pour nous, c'est de renforcer à travers la stratégie nationale qui vise chaque année, le 1er juin, à célébrer la journée nationale de l'arbre. Donc, chaque année, nous échinons à planter des arbres. Mais le défi, c'est comment protéger ces arbres jusqu'à ce que ça devienne une grande forêt. Donc, c'est important pour nous aujourd'hui. En termes de l'eau, l'État est en train de faire un effort pour que les ODD, en termes de l'accessibilité à l'eau potable, puissent être une réalité. Voilà quelques efforts que nous voulons. Je vous remercie.
Et tu me disais aussi que tu faisais plein d'efforts sur le plastique, sur les plastiques.
Bien sûr, ça m'a échappé toutes mes excuses. Aujourd'hui, avec l'urbanisation grandissante dans nos villes, il est question de la gestion des déchets ménagers, des déchets plastiques. Comment faire la collecte et comment faire la transformation, le recyclage de ces déchets au niveau de nos centres urbains. Merci beaucoup.
Merci. So very important, as I sensed it, the mayor said the poverty actually is also pushes people to do gestures against the forest. So for him, and Stefania, this is a direct client to you, for him to preserve the forest, to plant new trees is something which is super important. Sanitation and obviously waste management is something that many mayors, if not all of them, experience. So he spoke about this. When I saw him last time, he did a big, exhibition on plastic pollution in the 5 communities he is president of, very active. So that was, in a way, what he said. Time is over. Thank you very much. I did my 100 steps for the day. 100 steps for the day. Let me give you literally 15 seconds just to say hi, goodbye, and probably say that you are available to all these absolutely dynamic public and mayors. Otherwise, I cannot finish. Really, 20 seconds.
20 seconds. Dedication, passion, commitment, I've seen from all of you mayors, but all the others here present in this room. So join us, 360 Challenge, Coalition, Petite Forest, because certainly it's something that we can do together. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would just say that really bringing nature in an integrated way into plans. I think for too long we've operated in silos and often in operating in silos, we create more problems than we actually solve. So I'd really encourage us to think about the role and how you can bring nature in a practical way, not just on climate, on jobs, on health, security, etc. Thanks.
Thank you. Great to see everybody join us at UNEP through many different coalitions. including Alliance on Building and Construction working on buildings, Cool Coalition looking at the cooling and energy issues, and many more, like plastic pollutions, where UNEP is also a supporting partner. And meet us at the World Urban Forum in Cairo, meet us in Baku, in Azerbaijan at COP29, and COP30 in Brazil.
Looking forward to highlight better the solutions that you can bring locally in multilateral Geneva, because there's a lot of things happening at the local level that deserve to be better highlighted, and cities and local governments need also to be at the table.
And we will take care of local level. Thank you so much.